And for 6 years, I made myself smaller and smaller to try to fit in the box. And in the end, I did not fit. And I had completely lost myself. And I lost my reason for singing. I lost my joy. I lost the spark of creation.
That's Mattanja Lennings, opera singer, conservatory trained, bachelor's and master's degrees, everything right on paper and completely empty on the inside. What happened next started with a trip to the dollar store and then turned into a business she never planned to build. Welcome back to your Soul-Led Business Podcast. I'm Anik Manafant, and today's guest spent 6 years trying to fit into a box that was never meant for her, shaving off parts of herself to meet everyone else's definition of success until she couldn't anymore. Mattanja Lennings is an artist, a former opera singer, and a mentor from the Netherlands. And her story is one I think you need to hear, especially if you've ever felt like you're performing a version of success that doesn't actually feel like yours. Mattanja, welcome. Take me back to the beginning. You're at the conservatory, you're training to be an opera singer. What is happening inside you during those years?
So I got my bachelor and master's degree as an opera singer. And on the conservatory, I learned a lot of rules in an already existing system, in an already existing structure. And as a lot of us have been taught from a little girl, from a young age, I had been taught to behave a certain way, to follow the rules, and then I am a good girl, and then I will receive love, then I am worthy. And this was my programming for many years. And it still was my programming when I got into the conservatory. I wasn't as big on my spiritual path as I am right now. So I was acting and behaving a lot in the already existing system with a lot of rules. And opera is a system with a lot of rules. So it was very interesting for me to be ending up there. I've always loved singing, even from when I was a little girl and I was 4 years old. I think I watched The Little Mermaid like a bajillion times. You have the song she sings, the ha, and I just could not get enough of it. It was like song music spoke to me in a different language, spoke to my soul, my spirit, and it got turned on. And that I went to the conservatory was logical for me to go there because if you want to be a singer, you have to be trained to be a singer. So I went there and I learned all the rules, all the rules. And remember, I wanted to be a very good girl. So I wanted to follow all the rules. And at the time, I had stuffed my rebel down, deep, deep down, because my inside rebel, my soul was very inconvenient for other people. And I really wanted to be convenient. So I made my field small, I behaved well, and I wanted to follow all the rules and the techniques to be the perfect opera singer. And the thing we got taught on the conservatory is that there's a right way. There's one right way. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be perfect in this way. I'm going to give it my all. So I tried with all my might to fit in this existing box of opera singer, but it didn't fit. So I shaved off parts of myself to try to fit in the box, and I still didn't fit. And for 6 years, I made myself smaller and smaller to try to fit in the box. And in the end, I did not fit. And I had completely lost myself. And I lost my reason for singing. I lost my joy. I lost the spark of creation of why I wanted to sing in the first place. Because when I was a little kid, it wasn't connected with being perfect. When I was a little kid watching The Little Mermaid a bajillion times, it was about the beauty. It was about my soul connection. It was about the transmission through sound, through song. And at the conservatory, I completely lost that. So I passed my master's exam, but I could not sing anymore. My heart was broken. I could not do it anymore. And this was a difficult year in my life, a difficult time. And the only thing I did feel a spark for was self-development. And I did not have any money at the time. I could not work. I had no energy. I just was just mending my broken heart in the singing. But I started to do this self-development each and every day. And I scoured the internet for all the free stuff. And if I had any money, I would spend it on a session or I would spend it on a coaching session. I was this sponge and I wanted to absorb it all. I wanted to understand me. And in that journey, I started to understand like, wow, I have been behaving for other people. But who am I? Who am I? I have absolutely no idea because I always adapted to what the person in front of me needed or what the person in front of me wanted me to be. And as an artist, there are very strong ideas of what I needed to be. But in this year, I slowly started to peel off these layers, these rules I thought I had to abide by to receive the love, to be worthy. And I started to discover me beneath it. And this halfway in my journey, I think 2 or 3 months in my journey, I started to feel this inspiration again, this creational force, this spark again. And at the time, I could still not sing. It was still too painful and still too just messy with all the rules and how I could move in that artistry. But my soul said, my spirit whispered, go paint. And I thought, okay, okay, I'll try it. I will do it. And I went to the $1 store because I still did not have any money. And I bought some painting supplies and I started to paint. I started to create again more and more. The beautiful thing about painting is that I don't know any of the rules. So I have no idea what I'm doing. And this has been the biggest gift in this form of artistry because I am free. I am self-taught and I don't let the rules teach me. I don't follow the rules in this creational expression. I follow my spirit, and my spirit leads the way one step after another and another. And I did the painting for fun. It was never meant to be a business. It was so crazy how this all unfolded for me because I started to create for fun. And with courage, I took the next step of posting my work online just for connection. And then people started to get magnetized towards me, towards my field, towards my very authentic expression, because I made it so that no other perspectives or rules could enter this creational field I entered in. And people started to say, can I buy your work? Can I buy your art? And this just blew my mind. It blew my mind. Just how did this happen for me? I had put in no effort whatsoever. I had fun. And it just happened. It manifested for me out of nowhere, just for me by following each next step, each little crumb, each intuition without knowing where it would lead me, but just enjoying the journey along the way. And I believe our soul came here on this planet for a reason, to create something new, to create through our spirit, not to exist in an already existing system. But the thing is, when you say yes to your authenticity, it's also really freaking scary. So scary. Because I contemplated this. Yes, the rules cage us in, but they also give us a certain safety to hide behind. If I follow this rule, I will be accepted. I will belong to this group of people and I am safe. But what if we release all the rules? Are we going to be accepted? Are we going to be rejected? Am I okay? Am I safe? We don't know. And this is when we really have to just gather our courage and just take the next step anyway.
Mhm.
This is why my painting worked so incredibly beautiful, because it was fun for me and I never made it for the outside world. And this was what magnetized all the people to me. And then I had to start pricing my paintings. And I felt so clearly I'm not going to look at anyone else, how they are doing it. And I remember with my first big canvas painting, this woman came to me online and she said, I didn't know her, but she said, I channel Hathor. This is an Egyptian priestess. And she just told me you painted her and I would love to buy this painting. And I told her, wow, this is incredible. I don't know who Hathor is, but let me check with the painting. And I'm very good friends with her now. And she tells me this story, this moment when I told her I'm going to check with the painting, I'm going to ask the painting. She said that was the moment I loved you because you were exactly my kind of people, like the person, the woman who talks with paintings, who talks with energetics. This is the woman. And I stood in front of Hathor of the painting and I asked her, are you Hathor? And I just got full body chills. I got a full body yes. And I felt, yes, this woman can buy her. But for how much? I don't know. Okay. Okay. Let's ask the painting. And the painting said, I heard it bright as day. I could feel it in my body. 3,333 euros. And you have to understand, at that time, I sold paintings on little paper things, and the biggest amount I sold it for was like 200 euros. So this amount, I told Hathor, you're crazy. I'm not gonna do that. No, no, I cannot hold that in my nervous system. And I asked her again. And she again said 3,333 euros. And then I thought, okay, I have to listen to this. I have to listen to spirit. And I have to be able to hold this, to expand my nervous system enough to be comfortable with holding this. And I did. The woman said yes. And after that, my paintings have been selling like clockwork, and I'm selling them right now for 5 figures or more. But there isn't a strategy behind it. There is me and my paintings and my intuition, and asking the paintings, what energy do you want to be sold in? Tell me. It's
I love
so intuitive. Yes, it makes complete sense. And I would love to add with that, just try.
that.
Trial and error. Just go for it. Just make a step and say, okay, this is my price. And just go for it and feel it. Feel how it feels. And then maybe people will buy and you think, oh, you know what? This was actually too low. I can feel it in the energetic exchange. Or
Mhm.
maybe it was too high and you feel like, oh, people are not buying. What's the deal? But be curious and don't make yourself wrong for it,
Mhm.
because we're reinventing entrepreneurship. So
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, for our listeners who feel the pull towards their next chapter, but don't yet trust their intuition, what advice would you offer to help them with a starting point?
first of all, I just want to tell them, breathe. Take a deep breath to land into this beautiful body of yours. There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. You're okay. And just explore. Take the next step. What feels exciting? What feels fearful? What feels like going out of your comfort zone? Just do something that is not in your routine. I love to work without routines. I love to work with feeling every day, like, what am I going to do? Am I gonna go to a coffee shop I've never been before and journal, just to explore a different side of me? Just go do new things, and it doesn't all have to be in your business, but go expand who you are. Go discover new sides of you and let yourself be inspired by you, by your life, by the actions you take. I can even feel it now when I'm talking about this energy. There is like like the creational force. It wants to be explored, it wants to be tasted, touched, and just let your life inspire you. And you can do this today. You don't need to have a lot of money, you don't need to be successful. Just go and try. Just go take a bike ride along a new way. Just take your journal and go sit somewhere in a beautiful spot in nature and breathe. Feel the energy of the tree. There is so much you can do right now to activate this spirit part in you that you will follow.
So, if it's okay with you, I have some rapid fire questions for fun, for to bring some fun to our show and our conversation today. And if your intuition had a voice or a character as a persona, how would you describe it?
A mermaid.
Ooh, I love that. And what is the one misconception about you that people might be surprised to learn?
That I also still have fear to fail right now. People think, oh, you've made it. But I still feel fear to failure because there's always a next level to expand in, and there is fear. And then I know, crap, this is the way to go. Let's
Ooh,
face it.
I love that you shared that. I want to echo that because I feel like the perception is, oh, well, once you're following your intuition, then you're just guided and there's no fear. And that is not at all the case, is you become to discern between the voice of your fear and the voice of your wisdom. And that development of discernment is what allows us to keep leaning into it. So I love that you brought that in. So, last rapid fire question. What would be one piece of wisdom that you want every listener to carry into their own business journey?
That everyone has this soul-led artist inside that can't wait to create the sacred artistry of their soul, of their of their reason for being here. It
Mhm.
is there and it has always been there. And we're just gonna learn to listen to it again.
Mattanja, thank you. I love that. Everyone has this soul-led artist inside of them. We just need to learn to listen again. So, for everyone listening, I want you to sit with something from today. Mattanja spent 6 years shaving off parts of herself to fit into a box that was never meant for her, following rules that she never agreed to, that she didn't create, and performing a version of success that looked great on paper but felt deeply empty inside. And when she finally stopped, when she let her spirit lead instead of those rules, everything changed for her. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What is your opera? What's the thing that you've been trained to do that you're good at that checks off all the boxes, but is quietly draining you? And what rules are you following that you never agreed to? What is staying in that box actually costing you? Your energy, your creativity, your joy? Because here's the reality. That cost, it compounds. Every year that you stay in a box that isn't yours, it gets harder to remember who you were before you got into it. And here's why this matters so deeply for you right now. As you're about to set goals for 2026, or maybe you already have, and if you set them from inside the wrong box, if you're still performing someone else's version of success, you'll just build a bigger cage for yourself. That's why I created your breakthrough blueprint. It's 9 questions, and in 2 minutes, it's going to show you exactly which pillar is off: your values, your intuition, your energy, or your strategy, so that you can stop building on a cracked foundation. But be sure to take it before you finalize those 2026 goals, because the goals aren't the problem, the foundation is. So the links are in the show notes. And you'll also find Mattanya's links below. Go experience her art for yourself. Follow her journey as she's the real deal. So next week, we are kicking off the new year with a powerful episode called The Goal Graveyard. And you're going to want to listen and find out why you keep setting the same goals year after year and what's actually underneath it. If you have ever found yourself writing the same resolutions over and over again, you need to hear it. So until then, trust your intuition, take aligned action, and keep leading with soul.